Hello, it's Plank of the Day time.
And my plank of the day today is actually Kemi Badenoch. She's on all the front pages, of course, looking strong, looking like she did the right thing with Robert Jenrick. She found out that he was going to defect, and so she decided to cut him loose before he could do that to himself. But have a look at this, because this was the moment when we were filming Plank of the Week yesterday. This was the moment that the news broke that Robert Jenrick had in fact been sacked. Quite an astonishing thing has happened as we sit here in our lovely new studio. Robert Jenrick has just been sacked by Kemi Badenoch from the shadow cabinet and kicked out of the party on the basis that he was poised to defect.
Yeah.
Wow. So I don't know whether that makes him a plank or Kemi a plank. I guess we'll wait and see, but we'll get to that a bit later on. But I just wanted to with a bit of breaking news. There's nothing like breaking news when you're filming something that's going to go out tomorrow. But you've got to show that you're on top of the game here, you know. And I'm going to leave Robert Jenrick where he is at the moment. I presume he's walking
somewhere between Conservative and Reform.
Well, I imagine he'll be walking from Parliament across to Millbank, which is where Reform HQ is. And I'm going to go completely off-piste, as it were, and talk about fish. And of course, what we found out yesterday, 7:43 by the way, there's a few clocks for you, for those of you who can't tell the time on the clock that's behind me over there. I'm actually getting better at this. Look, I've actually managed to point my finger in the right place. And there's no reflection in the clock today either. Have we taken the glass out? You changed it, moved it. Wow. Amazing, isn't it? And some of you noticed that we've got a new standard lamp, which is actually over there. Or actually further over there, there it is. We've got water here, we've got, and we're going to play in a couple more clips, because what ended up happening yesterday was there was a lot of confusion, because of course when Robert Jenrick was fired, Nigel Farage was actually in Scotland unveiling the new Scottish leader, who was Lord Offord, I think his name is, who is now moved out of the House of Lords in order to run for the Scottish Parliament. Nigel Farage then had to sort of hot-foot it back to London in order to have a conversation with Robert Jenrick. Nobody will ever really know whether they had planned to move this weekend and whether Jenrick was going to join Reform in any event over the course of the next 2 days. One of the stories that we heard was that he had been told to cancel a meeting or a rally that he was supposed to be holding because he was going to effectively defect to Reform today, right? And then there was a lot of intrigue about a press conference that was held at Reform headquarters at Millbank, just across the road from the Houses of Parliament, around about 4:30, and that was when Robert Jenrick was in fact unveiled. So let's have a look at what then happened. Robert Jenrick talking about how he's joined Reform, why he's joined Reform, and why the Tories have broken Britain.
Shadow cabinet debate. A conversation broke out. The question was put to the group: is Britain broken? I said instinctively, it's broken. Almost everyone said, it's not broken. And we were told, that is the party line. A few had a third position. It is broken, but we can't say so, because the Conservative Party broke it.
Coco says this: I really like Reem, keep her on more. Absolutely right. She was good. I don't agree with everything she says, but she's not a gaslighter like the one on Monday, says Tyranade. Yeah, I mean, Reem Ibrahim absolutely set fire to the show this morning by having quite a big row with me about Reform. You know, she doesn't think that Tories joining Reform is a good idea. She thinks that Reform should be different. She thinks that there's no evidence that Reform will be different. But she claims as well that she doesn't have a home politically. So it's not as if she's going, if I were you, I would vote for this. If I were you, I would vote for that. What she's actually saying is that she doesn't really see any difference between Reform and the Tories and the Labour government. And